And we're live. What's up, guys? Kris Cantu here, reporting to you from Slovakia. And took a couple days to drive from Moldova over here to Slovakia. Went through Romania, Hungary, drove past Budapest, and finally made it up here to Slovakia. So wanted to check in with you guys, give you some updates. I've had a few days to rest from the long journey, as well as do some intense research on what was going on. And to my surprise, well, not really surprise, but my initial gut instinct was proven correct yet again. And we are in the midst of a huge false flag operation going on in Ukraine. So I'm going to, now that I'm fairly safe distance from the war zone, I'm feeling a little more confident in speaking freely on what's going on and calling out the names that need to be called out. But just wanted to give you guys a quick update. First off, that I'm safe. I'm out of the war zone. Basically in a position where I can, talk without fear of prosecution, and just a lot to cover. And I'm just gonna start off really just by saying that we've totally changed the definition of what a Nazi is. And I hear people, even supposedly really smart people, talking, still using that word Nazi, and using it very incorrectly, I might add. So with that being said, they're throwing the term around Nazi basically for everyone. Putin's a Nazi. There's Ukrainian Nazis. There's Nazis everywhere. And at least to my recollection, Nazi was someone that was against the Jewish cabal and against Jewish influence of banking, the media, and just basically, colluding together amongst themselves to oppress and put down and basically milk the cattle, or the goyim. And so, that whole definition's been thrown out. And again, I still hear people using that term incorrectly, but that's a side issue. So let's get down to it. I've had some time to research, different perspectives on what's going on. Obviously, I was in the war zone, living there when this all kind of popped off. And really at the beginning, just seeing the propaganda, and it was very emotional for me, being among the people and knowing how good the Ukrainian people are. It was really easy to get sucked into the pendulum of what was going on in terms of being, pro-Ukraine. And make no mistake, I'm pro-Ukrainian people that I was living amongst for the last almost 2 years. But what I didn't understand, and what I took time to really research, was the history of the government of Ukraine, and from 2014, the Maidan revolution, and then in 2015 installing a puppet dictator, or puppet president, former actor Zelensky, and also researching who has been funding him to the tune of $1 billion. So if you guys research the Pandora Papers and the Panama Papers, you'll see that Zelensky is up there with a net worth of over $1 billion. A billion, not a million, $1 billion. He also owns a $30 million mansion in Florida, and a few other, mansions and villas throughout the world. So how does an actor become a billionaire? Tom Cruise, let's say, isn't necessarily a billionaire. So doing the research and really just coming to the conclusion that there is a very high possibility that Ukraine, the Ukrainian Zelensky, I should say the Zelensky regime, not the Ukrainian, the Zelensky regime, is most likely doing false flag operations within the country of Ukraine. That was my initial first gut instinct when I saw all of the mainstream media, New World Order, Great Reset crowd pushing so hard for Ukraine, and they had a perfect they had a perfect alibi, because you're seeing pictures of Ukrainian families fleeing, and that evokes a very emotional response, which I got caught up in. But taking a step back and just observing things, also obviously making sure that I was safe and out of the war zone. If you guys have been following me for some time, you know my views on the powers that be, or what I would call the JWO or Jew World Order. I was in danger being in the war zone from both sides, both from the Zelensky regime and the laws that they were passing, but also the fact that Russia was supposedly going out and denazifying the Ukrainian country. So basically, I really couldn't speak in those first couple live streams when this all kicked off, because of this. Once you're under martial law, they can basically arrest you for anything. They can say, that you were a collaborator, and come to find out that people in Ukraine that are speaking out are being arrested. There's the Ukrainian KGB or Secret Intelligence, which is called the SBU. And they are passing laws that basically say we can jail you for up to 15 years if you speak out against what is going on. So that's one clue that will lead you to the conclusion that, the Zelensky regime, they're basically dead men walking. All of the people that he surrounded himself with, all of the people that have been funded by countries like Israel, the Azov Battalion is one of them. And there's a few other kind of special forces, paramilitary groups that have received funding from Israel and are called the Nazis, which, again, that definition has changed. So what is taking place right now? If you read the mainstream media, just the slight wordplay that they're using to obviously push the narrative that Russia is the one that is bombing civilian targets, but at least my gut instinct and my hunch, which is most times correct, is that it could be, and there's a high possibility that the Zelensky regime is in fact coordinating with these paramilitary groups that have been funded by Israel to in fact bomb its own citizens. If you look at Russia from the very beginning, their whole thing was they want to demilitarize. They want to make sure that Ukraine doesn't join NATO, and they said from the beginning that they weren't going to bomb civilian targets. And if you look at the strategy that they're using is like what some would call the cauldron, which is, surround the cities that they want to invade and just wait them out. So while you may think that the reports that are coming out that that Russia is behind schedule, or that they're lacking the morale to continue the operation, to continue the invasion, that's not really Russia's point, or the reason for invading. They want to get basically the Zelensky regime out of power, take over the administrative operation of Ukraine. And it wouldn't really behoove them to bomb. It wouldn't behoove Russia to bomb civilian targets, because how are they going to overtake a people that they've just bombed out? They need the people there. They need calm and for operations to run as normal, but just with a different group in power, or a different president that's pro-Russian, which is what they had before Zelensky came in, but they overthrew him thanks to the United States government. So let's back up a bit, because I know most of you guys are in the United States that follow me in this channel. And as I've mentioned many times before, the United States government is at war with its own people. And if you go to the gas pump, if you see, food prices increasing, fuel prices, electricity, everything's going up in the United States, and it's basically an economic warfare against the American people. And as of today, Biden has signed a $13.6 billion funding for Ukraine. Now, keep in mind, they could have easily passed a $4 billion plan to close the American borders, but they chose not to. And so we really got to look at, the motivation, which is basically the Great Reset, crash everyone's economy worldwide. You will own nothing and you will like it. The whole Klaus Schwab, Great Reset agenda is pushing forward at full steam. All right, sorry about that. Why is America so hardcore pressed on supporting Ukraine? Why are all these media companies supporting Ukraine so feverishly, and getting you through the media manipulation to also support Ukraine? And again, we're talking about two different things: the Ukrainian people versus the Ukrainian, Zelensky regime, which is totally separate, totally two different things. So as we talk about, all right, sorry about that, guys. So as we talk about the crashing of the economy and the feverish support for the Ukrainian government, it's because that's where all the bodies are buried. That's where all of the secrets are hidden inside of Ukraine. Basically, Ukraine's been used as a personal piggy bank for the governments of the world, for corruption, for child trafficking, for prostitution, sex trafficking, resource theft, in terms of gas and all the natural resources inside of Ukraine. So, basically they were just making deals, like Hunter Biden, getting paid out, giving 10% to the big man. All of these politicians, all of these governments were basically using Ukraine as their personal piggy bank and as their kind of play area where they would kind of get away with all the stuff that they couldn't get away with in their own countries. And so that's why they're so heavily pushing you to support the Ukraine, but it's because that if they get found out and Russia comes in, and we've already seen it with the biolabs, who knows what else that they will uncover inside of Ukraine, that the gig is up, and they're afraid that all of their secrets are going to be let out. And so that's why they need you to push for Ukraine. And then the Zelensky regime also, they're dead man walking. As soon as they're captured, they're going to be killed. They've already said, Russia has already said that they're going to take out that regime. And so the people that he surrounds himself with, his backers, the Azov battalions and all these what they're calling neo-Nazis, but are in fact supported by Israel, they're all going to die. They're all going to get taken out. So, in their view, they're so scum of the earth type people, thugs, whatever you want to call them, that they'd be willing to take out a good segment of the Ukrainian civilians in order to save their own lives. And that's what that's what we're seeing now. So, when people in the media, people in the government, people in Hollywood, basically are all pushing for you to support something, just as they for the last 2 years were pushing you to support the vaccines and COVID, you have to take a step back and question why. And it's because they're afraid of getting found out. And in fact, like with the bioweapons thing, they've already, they've already been outed. Like, what were they doing with those, 12 or 13, whatever, bioweapons labs, in Ukraine? What were they doing there? What were they studying? Was COVID really manufactured in Wuhan, China, or was it even maybe developed inside of Ukraine? That's yet to be found out, but there's reports coming out, multiple reports. One is that, in eastern Ukraine, that it's not the Russians that are bombing civilian targets. It's actually Ukrainian forces bombing civilian targets. And I can tell you from experience, like being in the war zone, it's martial law, so everyone has to be at home. No one's allowed outside after 7 p.m. And so you don't know, where the bomb's coming from. You don't, there's no name tag on it. So it could be coming from Russia. It could be coming from, elements of the Ukrainian government, which I'm leaning towards that being the case. And so another report is that the International Legion of fighters that are coming from all over the world, U.S., UK, Canada, there's reports that once they get into the country, that they're made to sign, well, this is for fact, that they're made to sign a contract with no end date. So basically, let's say you're ex-military, you fly to Poland, let's say you sneak into the border of Ukraine, and basically you want to sign up for the territorial forces, or the International Legion as they call it. They basically make you sign a contract for like 6,500 hryvnia, which is like $250 a month, and then there's no end date, so it's perpetual contract. If you want to leave, they have the right to shoot you, because you're technically part of the military. If you're disobeying orders, then you're a traitor, and they can basically take you out. And so now there's reports coming from men that have traveled over to Ukraine, gotten there, not given the weapons that they need to defend themselves on these operations, and they're basically saying like, no, this is fucked, we're not going to do it, and basically told to get the fuck out of the country or we'll shoot you in the back. And that report has just recently come out. Now, I have experience with that. I'm glad, just thank God that when I went to sign up for the territorial defense forces, that they were too busy, and like number one, the guns had all run out. So I was actually going just to get a firearm to defend myself. And, at the time I was like, okay, this shit's coming. I don't have a firearm. I need to defend myself. I'm willing to fight with the people, and that was foolish of me to do that, and I'm glad they didn't take me into it, because I would have been stuck there, put on the front lines, not given the proper ammunition and weapons that I needed to defend myself. And then if you try to say, okay, that's it, I'm out, or I'm done, then they can just take you out right there. So I'm glad that worked out in my favor, and it was foolish of me to try to sign up for the International Legion, because now I see, the truth is finally coming out, and I understand the political nature of what's going on there. And basically, yet again, the good people of Ukraine are being taken advantage of by the current regime that's in power, that's looking to maintain power. And you keep seeing how they keep pushing for a no-fly zone, and they're like, NATO, EU, we need a no-fly zone. And Zelensky's going basically to every government. He's speaking to Congress, he's speaking to the Canadian Parliament, he's speaking to the UK Parliament, and he's asking for help and aid and a no-fly zone, when he damn well knows that creating a no-fly zone would basically start World War III. And everyone's like, no, we'll send you humanitarian aid, we'll even send you missiles and weapons, but we can't do, we're not going to do the no-fly zone, because Zelensky knows that his time on this earth is limited. He's counting down the time, and some would say that Russia has already won the war, and they're just sitting back and waiting, basically just to find these people like in the Zelensky regime and basically take them out, and then they can flip it over to the Russian administration. So I'm not saying Russia's the good guy in all this. I mean, obviously they have their country to protect, and there's a good analogy of it where imagine China started a group of like Central American countries, and they got Panama, Nicaragua, and like Colombia and Venezuela, and they all got them together in this group, like kind of like the EU or NATO, for example. And China was supplying them weapons and giving them money and giving them resources and stuff. And then let's say that they wanted to invade Mexico and put their weapons and stuff in Mexico. Now, the United States would say, nah, that's too close. Like, we're not having that. So, we're going to invade Mexico. And the same thing is happening, but on the other side of the world with Ukraine and the Russia situation. Now, Russia needs Ukraine to be neutral. They need a buffer zone between them and NATO. Now, if you do even more research on NATO, they're not this like, protective, like benevolent organization. They've been wreaking havoc all over the world, bombing places, doing sex trafficking, basically the whole cabal. That's what they do. Like, that's what these evil people do. They just they're psychopaths. They extract resources from the people. They do their crimes. They do their satanic, devil, like child sex trafficking, child molestation stuff, like rituals. And it's very disgusting. And, Ukraine, unfortunately, has been a big part of that. And, they've kept the people in Ukraine very poor, and they've extracted their resources. They've kept them poor. It's one of the worst countries for corruption, and it's like good people always get fucked over. Like good people that just want to live, have families, like do their thing, work, whatever. They too were taken by Zelensky and by the TV show and the CIA run installation of him as this actor, and he had a popular TV show, and then they create a political party by the same name as the TV show, and then they put him into office, and he's like this golden calf that no one can mess with. And especially now everyone's like riding his dick, but the guy, I don't know, like he looks kind of coked out when he's talking. He basically is he's a dead man walking. Like they're gonna come and take him out, or he's gonna bounce and try to run the government in exile. So there's a lot of bad stuff going on that people don't realize because the propaganda is so heavy. It's so emotional. You get emotionally involved. I got emotionally involved, because I care about the people, and I see that they're good people. They're kind, and they just want to be left alone like we all do. But unfortunately, they're stuck in a position where they're being used as human shields. And unfortunately, I believe that part of all of these civilian targets that are being bombed, that it's being done by people in the Zelensky regime. And I can almost safely say this now because I'm not in the war zone, but when it was all popping off, that was like my initial gut instinct, but I was in a position where I couldn't say that. I mean, we got GPS tracking on these phones. They have, their KGB kind of, secret service, or I should say like secret intelligence agencies that would basically be able to track me down very easily, arrest me, kill me, whatever, just from speaking up. And so there's a high level of risk for me being able to say these things while I was there. But again, now I'm in a different country, and so, I can kind of put the pieces together and had some time to do a little research and understanding. Now come to you and be able to speak freely about what's going on. So let's see. So yeah, American, British, and Canadian special forces. I even saw like some Brazilian special forces. They're basically going into Ukraine, and it's a trap. It's a trap. They're being stuck there. Not only are they made to sign perpetual contracts for like $250 a month or whatever, but they're not giving ammunition. They're not giving weapons. They're being put on the front lines. And then if they decline any of those orders, then they're basically like traitors. And I'm hearing reports that a lot of those guys that went there, they're figuring out that it's all fucked up. And they're trying to leave, and now they have to hide to get out. Like they can't have any of their military gear. They just gotta figure out a way to get back across the border. So, I was just very fortunate in the chain of events that took place that I was able to get out. It was life changing. It was something that that definitely changed me as a person. And now, when we look at like 9/11, for example, I mean, it took us years to put together the pieces of like Building 7 and the plane hitting the Pentagon and things like that. It took us years. Now, with the advent of social media platforms and everyone's carrying like a film studio in their pocket with their smartphones, these things can come out a lot quicker. And so here we are, like just over 3 weeks into this war, and the truth is starting to trickle out. People are on the ground interviewing Ukraine civilians and saying, yeah, it wasn't a Russian tank, it was a Ukrainian tank, and they shelled us. I've seen reports of that earlier today. So the jig is up. The people that kept you in lockdown and crashed your economy the last 2 years with the COVID lie are now, unfortunately, using the Ukrainian people as another lie to have you support them. Meanwhile, they're bankrupting you. Inflation's going up. It's going to be very hard, especially for all of you guys in the United States and Canada and Australia and Europe. It's going to be very hard for all of us the next few years because of this. Because of the rising inflation, fuel prices, things like that. Now, again, I mentioned it before, but day one, what did Biden do? He cut off the Keystone Pipeline. So, United States has a lot of resources in terms of oil production that they could just use what they already have, but they've shut that off, and they've given you the lie of climate change, but yet we still import it from Russia. Now, the flip side of that is, Biden and the current Biden regime is telling you that it's Russia's fault that gas prices are going up. But if you look at the numbers, they only import a small percentage of oil and gas from Russia. So, like I mentioned before, it's a war on the people, and it's a worldwide war on every country. Basically we're all under this war, but just what we're seeing right now is like Russia, Ukraine, and we're seeing all these pictures and video. You even, like, if you just look at the way people talk, like I'm a copywriter by profession, so I've studied propaganda, persuasion, how to sell with words. And all I see on the mainstream media reports is them trying to sell you this war and sell you on the side of Ukraine. And that's their job to do that, because all of their skeletons are hidden in Ukraine. And if they were to be found out, like these bioweapon labs, or, how did Zelensky get $1 billion? It's through corruption. It's through shady deals. It's through fucking people over. It's for, not caring about human life whatsoever, and just being psychopaths, basically. And no matter what government you're in, we're run by fucking psychopaths. And so what I would hope would happen is that we can take a page from the Ukrainian, wanting to defend their land, wanting to defend their people, and we fucking arm up and take over our own governments, especially in the United States. I mean, we're the biggest standing army in the world. The most guns, the most ammo, shit ton of veterans, ex-military that we could, get together and start taking out our own government. I don't know if that would happen. I don't know if Americans, I know a lot of us do, but I don't know if enough of us do to have the fortitude to be able to do that. But I guess one thing, regardless of what's going on with the Ukrainian government, at least the Ukrainian people are showing some pride and nationalism and wanting to defend their land and defend their homes. And I hope that Americans, Canadians, Australians, Europeans would have that same passion for defending, what is theirs. And so, one thing that is not covered in all of this is this is really pissing me off. The fact that Zelensky's a Jew, Putin's a Jew, Israel has their hands all up in this, Mossad. Who's to say I need to charge my phone and it's keeps connecting to my computer, but we'll figure it out, Naz. What I was saying is Mossad has their fingerprints all over the civilian bombings that are going on inside of Ukraine. So that would be that would be my gut instinct as far as who is doing it. Just like Mossad did 9/11 and we did a false flag, or they did a false flag and blamed it on Iraq when it was really Saudi Arabian, or supposedly the hijackers were from Saudi Arabia, but then we go invade Iraq. Another aspect of it is that if you look at what Russia has done, where they've just encircled the cities and then pull back, encircle the cities, pull back, so if Russia wanted to just totally wipe out Ukraine, they could have done it in 12 hours. They could have had airstrikes just going nonstop, taking out everyone, but that's not what they want to do. They just want to take over the land and demilitarize it and have a buffer zone. Now, the denazification, all that shit is pretty much bullshit, because no one's talking about the Jews. And I guess typically when you call a Nazi someone that wants to, for Jews not to have so much influence in politics, media, finance, things like that. So the whole definition of Nazi has just been totally, redefined, I guess you could say. Let me check I need to this phone charger sucks. Okay. I think I'm only on 10%. Hold on, guys. Let me plug it into another place. 1 second. Oh yeah, I got this. Okay. Fuck you. All right. So it's been a hectic couple weeks. Made it to Slovakia. Pretty much just set up, trying to get back to some kind of normalcy after the last few weeks. Catching up on work, getting sleep, eating good, just kind of, putting my life back together after having to leave pretty much within 24 hours, just deciding to leave, packing, getting everything ready, and then doing my best to help, other people get out. So now it's been a couple days since I've been able to at least settle down a little bit, not things be so hectic, and really just trying to figure out the next step. But I'm very grateful to, I guess a fellow OG Red Pillar that had been watching my content for a few years and reached out and extended some help in terms of staying out here. So much appreciated. And that's the kind of level of help that we all need to kind of open up and help each other out. And I've seen a lot of that, both from the Ukrainian people, but then also these other countries that I've gone through: Romania, Moldova, Budapest or Hungary, and now Slovakia. People are really extending help to the Ukrainians that are having to flee. So it's really good, and I'm really appreciative to the people that kind of help me out through all this journey. So let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. Let me back up here. Let's see. They were selling COVID-19 and pivoted on a dime, and now they're selling World War III, the new variant. 100%, man. It's like the same people that were pushing this fucking bullshit COVID are telling you to support Ukraine, but is it support Zelensky or support the Ukrainian people? I support the Ukrainian people 100%, but like all government and like all countries, the government and the people are two separate things, and the people don't have any control of their governments. And unfortunately, because of human psychology and the way that propaganda is put out, and it's been fine-tuned and A/B tested, and now using machine learning and artificial intelligence, they really know how to craft and mold the normie brain to believing whatever the current thing is. And those of us that think outside the box and can observe things without getting emotionally invested, we can kind of pick apart these things. And I'm probably going to get censored off of this platform. I'm already on my like 5th or 6th warning or something just from posting memes on this account. So Hitler's last bastion is alive and well. Yeah, I mean, it's like the whole Nazi thing again. Like that whole definition has been totally flipped on its head, and people are dumping out their paid vodka, yet they don't understand about Russia and fuel. Yeah, I would say reading the mainstream media, it's just very obvious what the agenda is, and it's a shame because the Ukrainian people are so good people. I'm not telling you not to support the people, but the people aren't the government. The government in charge right now is, I think, bombing its own citizens, creating a propaganda war, which unfortunately they're winning right now because they have every mainstream news outlet, every politician, every famous actor, every musician. Basically, all of the trendsetters are pushing for Ukraine, but what they don't realize is that they're fighting, they're supporting a regime that hates their people, just like the American government hates Americans. I mean, you can't really say that American government does anything for the American people. Meanwhile, the borders are wide open, rampant inflation, giving money away for causes like climate change, like the weather doesn't change, so we got to, have climate change. It's just like all these agendas that are taking place. But at the highest level, it is the Great Reset. And just like 100 years ago when they talked about the Great Depression, in 50 or 100 years, they're going to talk about the Great Reset. And I think we still have time to stop them. I mean, the thing that they underestimate in their psychopath mind is that when good people band together and we see past our differences, our petty differences, that we form a fist, and that fist is powerful. But when we're all separated and we're all just like doing our own stupid shit and bickering over stupid shit, like we're weak, we're weak out here. But when we band together, we're very strong. And I know a lot of you guys that follow, you guys kind of have the same mindset, and see the world, maybe small differences, but you see the world, that we're all getting fucked over. And if we don't join together, then we're all screwed. It's like putting on the They Live glasses. Exactly. Recognize the small hats. And so, I've gone on record. I mean, you can Google my name. I've talked about the Jew world order. I've talked about the Jew pill. It's not that I want to be against Jews. It's just pattern recognition. You see the same thing over and over again. They get into media. They get into finance. They start manipulating things, and people just fall for it. I mean, who runs Hollywood? Who runs the music industry? Who is pushing for transgenderism so much? Who is pushing for gender reassignment, for kids? Who is pushing for drag queen story hour? If you look back at, almost 100 years ago, there was something called Weimar Germany, and Berlin was the capital of like filth. And Hitler saw that, and he wanted to change it. And he saw his people being broke, being basically prostituted, being Berlin was like the sin city of the world, and people would just go there because you could basically get anything you wanted. And who was in control at that point? It was the Jews. And so no one's really talking about that through all of this conversation. Even people that I really look up to and am getting good information from, they're still saying, "Oh, Nazis," but it's the Jew world order. It's like they're running everything from Israel. You notice how they're trying to get Israel to mediate between two Jews. Putin's a Jew, Zelensky's a Jew, but then they got to go to Israel, and Israel hasn't even condemned Russia or the other side. They're just playing. They run all the tech companies. They have the algorithms. They can track all of our sentiment. They can basically take, like my profile, break it down, break all your comments down, put it into like a computer program, kick out how you're going to react to certain things. And then they just use that as their script, and they keep pushing that emotional nerve. And, they're doing a pretty good job. I mean, whether you think they're smart or not, they've just put so much time and energy into manipulating the non-Jew, the goyim, as it will. Another thought that I had is they call Jews call non-Jews goyim, which means cattle in Hebrew. And what do you do with cattle? You slaughter them and you milk them. And that's basically how they see us non-Jews, is to be milked of our resources, milked of our life energy, milked of all of our attention, and then we get slaughtered. And right now they're trying to send all of the goyim, fighting age men with military experience. They're trying to send them into a war zone, and it's a trap, and they're keeping them trapped there. I mean, all my friends back in Ukraine that are, they're all 18 to 60, they can't leave. You get to the border, they're like, "No, get the fuck back. Here's your orders to report to your local territorial defense unit." And so, the Ukrainian men that are still there in Ukraine are stuck there, and they're being conscripted into this war that's being led by the Zelensky Jewish regime. And so I think he is, though. I think if you look, Organic is saying Putin is not Jewish, but the president of Ukraine is. I think if you look, Putin's grandmother was Jew. I don't know. I won't debate you, but I would just say look into it a little bit more. I mean, we've all seen the presidents of every country go to the Wailing Wall and do the head bobbing thing on the Wailing Wall and put the yarmulke on and all that. So, Biden is not Jewish, but he's admitted he's a Zionist. So, there's all these different flavors. There's the Bolsheviks, there's the Zionists, there's the the technology guys, the Zuckerbergs and the Jack Dorseys and all the Jews that run in the tech circles and stuff. Most of the Russian oligarchs are small hats. Yeah, it's exactly Mandela effect on the Nazi definition. Yeah, you just keep saying Nazi, 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 Nazi over and over and over again, and then it's it changes. But at no point do any of the people that they're calling Nazis actually do Nazi stuff, or at least what the definition of Nazi would typically be. So, it's definitely rinse and repeat. If you tell a lie over and over again, it becomes truth. Let's see, who else is here? They won't even admit they're wrong about the coof. Yeah, I mean, the same people, the Trudeaus, the fucking Bidens, the people that are trying to stick needles in your arms with this fucking fake vaccine are the same people that telling you to support Ukraine. So, again, my support is with the people, my people back there, my good friends, my people that are stuck there. They got my heart and full support, but their government's fucking them over. And it's not even their government. It's a regime that was put in there by the CIA and different billionaire oligarchs. And they kind of fooled the Ukrainian people, just like we've all been fooled in our own ways in our own countries with like social media, a TV show, an actor. You know, Trump was an actor. He had a TV show, and then they put him in as president, and he was always Israel first. As much as people want to say, oh, Trump, you know, he was based, he was this, he was, you know, the masculine alpha, whatever. Like, he was still Israel first. He still, you go into his office, he was still, his walls were full of like Israel awards. He was still like a Kabbalah, you know, guy, a Kabbalah worshiper. So whatever, like, you know, whatever you want to worship, that's your own thing. But make no mistake, Trump was not American first at all. It was only for the corporate greed and you know, furthering the agenda of a small state in the middle of the Middle East that just happens to control everything. And they control all of our tech companies. I mean, Instagram, Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call it. Like, you know, they're tracking us through all this stuff. Let me see. I think I have a question. Request to join. Nah, I'm good, Dean. I'll probably just do this one on my own. Thank you, though. I see on the news a few days ago a bunch of older women standing in a hallway in Ukraine, and behind them was the Ukrainian flag and the Israeli flag. And I think it was on BBC. Yeah. I mean, once you see it, like once you put the They Live glasses on, once you see it, you can't unsee it. The problem is people have this cognitive dissonance of thinking like, no, it can't just be one group of people. You know, it can't just be, you know, it's you know, it's so obvious, but people have such a hard time realizing it. And even in the, you know, even in the news articles, they drop like subtle hints. I told this story, but I'll tell it again. One of my clients and a guy that I work with the client, he recommended that. He was like, hey bro, if you need a place to stay, man, I know Israel's like giving like you know, like 90-day visas. You can just go to Israel. And then the next day I see a report like, yeah, like Ukrainians are showing up in Israel and they're only letting Jews in. So I thought that was funny. You know, they stick together. You got to give them that. They support black trans Ukraine kids or whatever. Yeah, exactly. I mean, fuck, we're in such a fucking clown world right now. I mean, like, I just was living there in a war zone. I have my own risks to deal with the words that have come out of my mouth and the pattern recognition and the videos that I've shared over the years. And so I had my own like risks that were above just like getting bombed and you know, being, you know, targeted as a civilian. Like I had a whole other couple levels of risk that I had to deal with. And you know, just God was looking over me and weaving me out of that fucking place. And I'm still not out of the clear yet, but at least now I can kind of speak more freely about the views that I have, the research that I've done, and just the pattern recognition. And I may be wrong about things, like I may be wrong about it, but I feel kind of like the gut instincts saying that I'm headed in the right direction. And now, instead of waiting years like 9/11 for the truth come out, now it's like 2 to 3 weeks where everyone's on a cell phone, everyone's doing content. There's people in the war zone like reporting that, you know, the civilian targets that are being hit are coming possibly from the Ukrainian military itself. Fox News and CNN and all the other bullshit news channels on the box need to go, and people need to stop buying into fear. Yeah, I mean, that's it. Turlin is, you know, I was pretty much feeding into the fear for good reason, I think, just given my circumstance. But it's a pendulum, you know, if you think about it. What does a pendulum do? It swings back and forth. And there's so many pendulums out there that we give our energy to. And whether you're for or against, you know, I see a lot of people for Ukraine, and I see a lot of people for Russia. And it's this pendulum that keeps you stuck. And how do you hypnotize people? You use a pendulum, and slowly but surely you hypnotize them, and then they become in a trance. And what I've realized, and I've really tried to work on this in the last few months, is not being so hypnotized by pendulums. You know, I wish I could just do this one live stream, get all my theories and conspiracy theories, whatever I think about it, out of the way and just go back to living my life normal. But it's going to be hard to, because I just had to pick up my whole life and put it in a suitcase and 2 backpacks and just like bug out and get out of Dodge and drive like 16 hours through 3 countries to get to safety. And so I think that experience isn't going to be just like I can just put it to sleep and never think about it again. And so that's why I've been so involved in it. And like my good friends, my people that I've been living with the last 2 years are still there, unfortunately. And so my heart, like I want to make sure they're safe. I want to make sure that this ends fairly quickly. So it's going to be hard for me to get off the pendulum. But that's what we all need to do and focus on the life that we want to live. And it's not like cognitive dissonance where you just ignore it, but you just don't feed into it. You see it, you accept it, and then you move on. And so a lot of things that I think are fucked up in the world, I've kind of just accepted it. But when I look at what's going on in the United States, like now I'm considering my options of which country I want to go to next. And really, I just want to be left the fuck alone. And I was left the fuck alone in Ukraine for like a good 2 years. Like no one fucked with me. I was doing my thing. Like no one was telling me to wear a mask or take a vaccine, or, I didn't have to worry about like red light cameras or speed cameras everywhere, tracking me everywhere. It's just like I felt a lot more free. But every country you go to is gonna have that control grid, that matrix that you go into. And now that I'm in like more EU type countries, like it's all coming back, the control matrix and the cameras everywhere, and they're tracking you and taking pictures of your license plate. And so I'm feeling like I wish I could find a country that I could go to where I could just like live cheap. People leave me alone. I don't fuck with them. They don't fuck with me. And I can just live in peace. But I feel like maybe like living in Ukraine, like that was the last piece of earth that had any kind of like freedom, like not all up in your grill about COVID or some bullshit. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Mexico, but Mexico's in a fucking drug war right now. The drug cartels and everything. Maybe there's some safe parts, but I don't know. I still got to figure it out. It reminded me of the old Kate Knight infomercial, send a Jew back to Israel, and a Jew feeding the old woman. Yeah. They're still raising money for the Holocaust, by the way. Don't forget to support your local Holocaust survivor, the 6 Gorillion. 110 countries aren't wrong. Yeah, we like to say 110, never again. The volcano eruption in the ocean obliterated our differences in an instant. Yeah, I mean, something like that could easily pull us all together, but facts aren't hate. In NS and have Jew friends that know that. Yep. Europa, the last battle on BitChute. Yep. I mean, yeah, that whole the whole Nazi thing, man. They got it twisted. Fall of the Cabal. I don't think I've seen that one. Biggest DNA grab in history. Nukes for Israel, like open borders for Israel. They got their borders, they got their wall, but Americans, we got to take on all the poor people in the world. Just come on to America. Just come on to America. Yeah. Chinanada, or what would you call Canada? Chinanada. I know they take in a lot of Chinese people. It's not all Jews, but they are tribalistic, and when you call them out, 95% will defend their hypocrisy and are defensive. Yeah, it's like a groupthink, a tribalistic groupthink over hundreds or thousands of years of being persecuted for their fucked up things that they would do, and it's just kind of ingrained into their DNA. So yeah, it doesn't matter if it's all Jews, they're still the ones doing it. Yeah. I mean, Israel, it's like, why do we give billions of dollars to Israel? For what? They're just like some country in the Middle East. Why? Why do we do that? I wish people would wake up to that fact, because then it becomes just so easy. Oh, Zelensky's a Jew. Oh, this one's a Jew. Oh, these guys support Jews. Oh, it's all about Jews. Oh, okay. Like, now I get it. Like, once you know the knows, you can read the last names. You can even look at their physiognomy in their nose and their features and say, "Oh yeah, Fauci's a Jew." Like Fauci will get up there, lie to your fucking face over and over again for months and months. For not even months, like since AIDS, he was fucking in bathhouses researching AIDS so he could kill more people. And that was like what, in the 80s? So fucking 30, 40 years this Jew rat has been fucking trying to inject poison into people or release poison into people. It's fucked up. Ask a Nazi Talmudic, yeah. I mean, look, just fucking read the Talmud. Like, if any Jew, like, just ask any Jew, like, well, what does it say in the Talmud about Jesus Christ? What does it say in the Talmud about non-Jew children over 3 years old? Like, let's flush it out a little bit, you know? But I don't know. People just aren't awake enough to understand that. It's universal. It's the universe rebounding on itself. I don't know, man. I feel like we've probably been so degenerate. We've probably been just so just degenerate. I mean, basically, me included. Maybe we deserve everything that's coming, but like I still ask for forgiveness. I still ask for the opportunity to repent and try to like stop making those same mistakes that I would make when I wasn't as smart and as awakened as I am now. And but like I've lived a degenerate life earlier in my life, and I've tried to like make amends for it. But I hate to say like we deserve it, but if people don't want to wake up and have critical thinking, then they fucking do deserve it. And since I've been on this journey of awakening for the last, I don't know, since maybe 2003, so almost 20 years of trying to, figure out why we're here, what's our purpose, what's really going on in the world, not just at face value, but at the deeper levels, even esoteric levels. I've done my best to try to, get away from that life and live a clean life. So that I don't have like guilt or fear in my life, that I can just, accept things. And being through this whole experience, like I had to accept that I may die and come to grips with that. And I was like, man, I was calling friends that I hadn't talked to in a while and saying I was sorry for for cutting them off and ghosting them. I was like, recorded a video for my dad who I hadn't talked to in like 15 years. Like I really felt like, fuck, this is it. Like I might die here. And, just by the grace of God and whatever angels are looking over me, that I was able to get out and help some other people out. So, but once you get to that point, once you hear the bombs outside, and they get closer and closer, and the sirens going off, and you hear the gunshots. I mean, I heard gunshots like right downstairs, like the first couple nights, once they implemented martial law. So, I was like, you guys saw me with the vest on. I was like, fuck, at least maybe like if they hit the body shot, I'll like, the plate will just stop the bullet. Shabbat is a precursor to their grand design prophecy. If the Goy didn't exist, how would they survive on Shabbat? They laugh at you slaves for pressing their buttons and walking miles to shut off a fan. Good point, Kris. Yeah, I noticed like they always study the Talmud on the Sabbath or on Saturdays. I've kind of read that over and over again, that they study their little magic book about the Goyim on Saturdays. What are your thoughts on the U.S. biolabs? Is Putin trying to occupy them? I mean, number one, like, what the fuck are we spending all this money on biolabs for? What are you researching? You're trying to take a bat and a goat and like mix it and come up with some like crazy anthrax like super virus. Like, there's no fucking reason for it. Like I want to live simply. I want like grow my own food, have clean water, like build stuff, Like, just be left alone. But yet they're raping us for tax money so they can go study how a bat can like mix with a pig and then take that and mix it with some other thing and then like, ooh, it's this like super deadly virus. Like, I'm just like, all that shit just pisses me off, you know, like. And then they were putting it right now, like they knew like Russia, if they found out, would be really pissed, and they're probably pretty smart guys and figure it out. And so why would you put it right on their fucking border? It's like they asked for it. And we need to look at like all this fucking money that they're printing. I mean, one, it's Jew magic paper. Like, it's like, doesn't fucking mean anything. We got to really change our whole fucking thing about money and how we want to live and what value, what social value, like social viability, what is a unit of value. It's not some fucking piece of paper. It's how we treat each other, the value that we give to each other, how can we feed each other, resources for each other. Like, that's what's important. These biolabs and stuff, like, it's all just bullshit. They had the labs there. They admitted it. Why would you put them right on Russia's border? Why would you have like 12 or 13 biolabs in the, like, what the fuck are you studying? Like, really, what are you fucking studying? Like, I mean, I was in the military for 4 years. I worked in tech for like 15 years. I've given talks at like IBM Global Services. The companies that I used to be sales reps for would sell to like biolabs, would sell to the NSA, different branches of the CIA, InQtel, like different companies like that. I mean, I was young and dumb. I didn't know it. I was just a job making money out in the Bay Area. But, you know, I think I have a pretty good understanding of at least a little bit of how things work and like the government and all this stuff. And it's just a big fucking scam, man. I'm tired of being scammed. I'm not your fucking slave. Like, I'd rather die free than have to be live under some kind of tyranny. And even now being in the EU, like seeing all the masks on and stuff, like that shit just like, I feel like I'm going back to the West, you know, where I was in Thailand, COVID hit, then I went to Ukraine, and I kind of felt like I got away from the whole COVID narrative and the whole like New World Order for a little while, but then it came just crashing back down on me. So yeah, the biolab thing, yeah, it's there. They're lying. Like, what I pretty much realize is like anything the mainstream media says, like the opposite is true. So like, if they want you to push for something, like the opposite is true. So that's kind of what I surmise, I guess. There's a Metallica music video, Spit Out the Bone, was made a few years before Vivid, but imagery describes what we're seeing today. Yeah, check it out. Why are they all against Trump then? Who's against Trump? Like the leftists? Like the drag queen story hour, like pronoun people leftists? Like, yeah, they don't like Trump because they saw him as a masculine person that told it like it is. But that's like at that layer. Like okay, we don't like Trump at this layer, but like Trump was in bed with Israel. He brought you Operation Warp Speed. He did the COVID bailout. Like, where are we getting all this money from? Like, fucking America's broke. Like, I don't even want to go back to America because of how just expensive shit's going to be. And it was fucking expensive before I left. Imagine now it's going to be like crazy. And so I don't know. Trump and skin loves Israel. Yeah, he does. I'm known for so long. Yeah. It's painful to watch people blinded by the narrative. Yeah, I mean, they say every single time. And once you have your Judar tuned in, it is really every single time. I'm already against the next thing. Yeah. The first thing people can do to help themselves is turn that damn box off that they stare at for 5 hours a day. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. Like, why I really don't speak to my family that much is because they sit in front of the fucking TV all day. And it's like, do you want to be like, do you want me to be part of the family, or do you want the TV to be part of the family? Because it was either me or the TV, and they chose the TV. So I bounced. Maybe wasn't the right thing to do, for me, but that's basically, you can't trust people that trust the TV. So like, if you trust the TV, I can't trust you. And with the family thing, like, you need to be able to trust people. Like, that's what family is you trust your family members. You may not trust friends or girlfriends or whatever, but you should be able to trust family. But what if you can't trust your family because they fucking trust the TV? So you're right. I call it the Jew box or the electric Jew. I mean, everything that comes across that TV is meant to manipulate your mind, to have you think a certain way, and to basically give you the download, the MPC download of what you should be thinking. Base crew needs to buy up unincorporated county. Government's the cartel. The cartel's looking really good. I'm selling up because I have to, but where? I don't know, man. I don't know where to go. Like, Mexico's fucked. Like, if I could have my firearms in Mexico and at least be on, like, some kind of way to defend myself in Mexico, like, I would do that, but I don't know, man. Thought of Mexico, but I don't think I can have my guns. Yeah, exactly, Reverend. It's like, I mean, through this whole experience, I don't ever want to be without my firearms, and so that's like leaning me very heavily to go back to the United States to get them. But again, I go like by my gut instinct, and like that, my gut instinct tells me that's not the right move right now. China in Canada, coming as one beautiful nation under Justin Trudeau. Where are you now? Are you safe? Yeah, I'm in Slovakia now. Made a long ass fucking journey from Ukraine to Moldova to Romania. Romania is fucking pretty big, and there's not a lot there. Hungary, and then Slovakia now. Fauci is a Jew, and yes, he killed the gays. Yeah, AIDS hoax. Kris Lives makes me want a drink, and I'm having one for both of you guys. Thanks, Nas. I'm having a little wine down, red wine. Just trying to de-stress, I guess, from the last couple weeks. Fauci isn't a Jew. He's more of a Shabbos goy. Max Hammer. I'm pretty sure he's a Jew, bro. I'm pretty sure. But either way, like, yeah, Shabbos goy. Like, that's the other term that people don't know is a Shabbos goy. Like, a non-Jew that does the Jew's bidding, like a Biden, for example. So, well, how about dual citizenship? If we had Chinese or Russian dual citizens in our government, yeah. I mean, at what point does, like, I think something like 80% of the United States government holds a second passport in Israel. Now, as someone that has traveled around and tried to access second passports, you got to be pretty well funded to get a second passport. And then having 3 passports. So why does our government carry a second passport from Israel? Like 80% or so of them do. Did you ever hear about the Jay sucking blood? Yeah, it's the bris. Amish paradise punished. Yeah, you do the bris, like you do the bris, give the baby herpes, you suck the blood. They're fucking vampires, basically. God eternal written in our DNA. Yep. Anarcho Louie, what's up, bro? There we go. All right. Had to jump back on the Wi-Fi. What happened to Roosh V? I don't know, man. I read his last book. I thought it was really good. But he was like, I don't know, like he niched down into that like orthodox like, I guess Russian Orthodox or Armenian Orthodox. Like, he went from like a big niche to like a really really small niche, and his stuff's really good. I mean, he's red pilled, he's based. I just think I don't have enough time to like watch his shit, but it was good shit. Like, I enjoyed watching Roosh. I think with like people that produce content, you kind of come in and go out. Like you take what you need when you need it, and then you kind of go away. So I don't know what's up with him. I hope he's doing good. They're researching a way to thin out the herd. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, it's on multiple fronts. So here's a story. So I'm driving through Romania. Finally, fucking get to the border into Hungary, and I did a story where I was at the border crossing, and there's like mad like line of Ukraine people. It took 2 hours exactly to cross the border. But then once I get into Hungary, and I'm driving up through Budapest, and I swear it looked like a fucking alien invasion. They were spraying so many chemtrails, like 9 fucking planes all flying together. It looked like spaceships were coming down, but it was chemtrails. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm in the EU now, and they have the chemtrail programs going on here. So, they didn't really have it in Thailand. They didn't really have it in Ukraine. Didn't see any in like Moldova, Romania, but like as soon as I get into Hungary around, and I was driving towards Budapest, so like they were definitely flying them over like the city, the biggest, Budapest is a pretty big city. But fuck, man. I mean, I've seen like a bunch of chemtrails, especially like in California and Colorado. But damn, they were like fucking hitting them hard. That EU chemtrail program was going strong. Jew magic paper, that's the truth. All right, I think I'm really behind on your comments. I'm reading stuff from like 30 minutes ago. I work outside. I've seen that shit forever. Yeah, and again, like cognitive dissonance. You tell like a normie, man, what is that? Or, oh, it's just a plane. Well, passenger planes fly at like 30,000 feet, so you couldn't even see a plane. It's so fly up. But why are these like flying lower and have this long thing? Oh, like mind blown. They don't know what to tell you. Should have caught footage. I think I have a picture. I'll maybe post it. What's up, LFA? Good to see you, bro. RC, what's up? Should have stopped sooner. Let's see what else. I'm glad I stopped watching TV in 2006. Yeah. I mean, we all kind of come to the awakening. We're all led to the truth in different ways, and sometimes it takes us longer than others, but at least we fucking get there. Like, that's the main thing. It may take you like longer, but at least you get there. What's up, Sigma Fox Body? Appreciate you, man. Oh, good. You have people worried about you. Yeah, fuck, man. It was some scary shit. Brazil, El Salvador, or Russia are where to go. Maybe El Salvador. I don't know. Those like Central American countries, it seem kind of shady. But definitely I would, look into it. Yeah, I don't know about Brazil. Like, if I can have firearms there, I might do it, but you got to look at like the history of these countries. I don't know, man. I don't know if there's anywhere to go. Like, every country pushed for COVID and pushed for vaccines. There wasn't one like based ass fucking country that was like, fuck you, we're not doing the COVID, we're not doing the vaccines. Like, all of them did it. So based on that, they all have pluses and minuses for sure. But I don't know. I mean, like right now, Mexico seems like the least COVID fucking, restrictions right now. So, but those are good recommendations, man. I appreciate it. Does Joe Biden ever run the country anymore? No, not at all. He's a 100% complete puppet. He can't even control his own shits. How is he can control a country? It's multiple factions like using him as a puppet, and it's multiple puppeteers kind of just pulling him in different directions. So, I mean, like World Economic Forum, Great Reset. And that's just at the level that you can see. Like, there's, I'm sure, levels above that are hidden forces or whatever. I don't know, maybe not. But at least that is like something you can point to and say, well, they've said it's the Great Reset and they're accomplishing all of the steps to Agenda 2030. So, like, at least those are things you can point to. Yeah, what else? Alaska, maybe Alaska. Dominican is looking good. Yeah, we're looking at like Puerto Rico, DR, Mexico. I don't know, is Costa Rica? What's up with Costa Rica? I remember a long time ago I was like researching to buy some property in Costa Rica, but that was a while back. They say blood is thicker than water, but I think you pick your blood. I'm closer with my tribe than my family. Yeah, I consider people that I've met along the way more of family than I unfortunately do, like, at least, not all of my family, but like parts of them. And then like the whole dad side of the family, like I haven't even talked to that guy in so long. If Russia really invade Ukraine because of the biolabs, did Putin not speak of it? I'm sure they knew that they were there, and you don't want to come out with your heavy guns first. So I think they just they knew they were there, and then they kind of tricked the United States into admitting them. And then now that they admitted them, it's like, but honestly, in the whole scheme of things, like the biolabs is kind of like a small thing. Like in the whole scheme of things, the big picture, like it's a small thing, but they already like came out with COVID. They already fucked us all over with COVID for 2 years. So it's like, oh, another biolab, another Wuhan. Oh, okay. Well, what were they doing there? And blah, blah, blah. So in my perspective, it's a very, small thing. The main thing is that they need to take out Zelensky, and Zelensky and his people are going to fight to the death, and they're going to take out the innocent Ukrainian people if they have to, in order to save their lives. And that's why you keep hearing them calling for a no-fly zone, which will start World War III, calling for joining NATO, calling for joining the EU. It's like they're going to take the ship down with them if they can. The only TV that tells lies, that's it. And they lie to your face sometime with a fake jab. Yeah. My family the same. They all choose a screen over me. It's sad, man. I think I'm going to tune out here shortly. Let me just read you the rest of the comments. Let's see what you guys are saying. Kris Cantu for live. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, I want to do more of these streams. Now that I'm in a safer country, I'm not in the actual war zone, but just thank God that I was able to get out. And now I want to speak about what I've been seeing and how it was on the ground, and other research that I've been taking in, because I don't have all the answers. I'm just putting my opinions out there. Like, don't believe me, research it for yourself. But I'm speaking from like both the pattern recognition and experience and just my gut feeling. And there's certain things I couldn't say that I was kind of like feeling when I was there, because just like I didn't want to be tortured. Honestly, I didn't want to be arrested and tortured. I was like, fuck that. I was even like looking for instructions on how to make a homemade cyanide pill, so that if I had that and I got arrested by either side, that I could just like take myself out, because I'm not fucking doing the whole torture thing, man. Like, you either kill me quick with the gunshot to the back of the dome, or like I'll make my little homemade rat poison suicide cyanide pill and just like, fuck you. Yo, Kris, have you ever heard of the idea that there being more land? Yeah, it's tied to the flat earth. Yeah, I wouldn't say flat earth, I'd say infinite earth. That's my own opinion. Probably won't go into it a lot in this stream, but yeah, I've been almost around the world completely, and everywhere I've gone, It all looks flat to me, but I think it's infinite. There's more past the Arctic. That's just my opinion. But all puppets in the world are shadow government. Biden is sharding at every sneeze. Exactly. Unity is wealth. That's all we got, you know. Doesn't it all comes down to the people, and it doesn't matter what country you're in. If you're awake and you see the same things going on, like there's power in that. And like I like some of you guys, like you post memes I disagree with, but like you're still my homies, you're still my people. Like we don't have to agree on every fucking like minute, you know, detail. As long as you see the patterns and we talk and you see a lot of the same patterns I do, then like you're my people. It doesn't matter like what country you're from or what language you speak or whatever, like you're still my people. So that's where the power of the fist, we all come together. We can take some stuff out, especially with the Antarctica being the limits. Yep, Costa Rica. Man, I'm like way behind on your comments, but I'm gonna tune out. Across the world, yeah. Or Hollow Earth. Maybe Hollow Earth. I don't know. What's up, Grumpy? Escape from LA, not escape from Ukraine. Fuck, I was like, escape from Ukraine. Shit. I mean, you can check the video that I did when I was driving out through the checkpoints and stuff, but I filmed some other videos that I'll probably put in like a documentary or something. What's up? What's up, Bueno? What's up, man? One love. Miss you guys. Love you guys. Program to the max. Kris, best work out for bicep long head. I don't know. I mean, like biceps are more ego lifting. I would say triceps. Hit the fucking tries because you got two muscles right there. Biceps is like kind of one-ish muscle, but hit the tries, bro. Well, you know, your Sigma Fox body. What's up? It's bigger than the biolabs. Yeah, all guns blazing. All right, I want you to be on. I want to be on your team. You are, man. Everyone following this channel, liking this video, sharing this video on your stories. You're all part of the tribe, so appreciate it. You're all part of my tribe, not the tribe. I'm not pathetic, Joyan. What's up, man? All right, guys, I'm going to tune out for now. Wish you guys a good day, morning, noon, or night, wherever you are. And I really appreciate all the support, you know, because when I was like sitting at the fucking border crossing and I didn't even know if I could get out of Ukraine, and I'm like sitting there, are they gonna let me out? And I'm like hitting you guys up and commenting like it's a fucking metaverse like bullshit platform that this fucking Instagram is tracking us and taking pictures while we're sitting on the shitter, you know, scrolling through and all this fucked up shit. But at least it gives us a chance to like communicate and network, and people all over the world, like we're seeing the same things and we're just trying to figure it all out. So yeah, man, Anarcho Louis, man, good to know you too, man, and appreciate it. You should make a documentary and just shoot mad video and edit it with a voiceover later. Yeah, man, I recorded a bunch of shit offline, and all those live streams that I pulled off, I'm gonna pull those in and try to make a compilation and stuff. So it'll be a little personal project of mine because I got some good stories to tell. Long head with hammer curls, I think. Oh, okay. I don't know what long head is. Thanks. See you in the next one. Be safe. Thank you, guys. All right, Kris Cantu tuning out. I'll be back soon with another live stream, and watch this on replay. Share it to your stories. All right, guys. Peace.